fact is, you're here. A lot of people are still checking in. So give yourselves a round of applause. We made it 2 months in a row now in Greenville. And of course, our guest speaker today is Kip Miller. You're going to love having you up as our guest speaker. Having Mike tomorrow for the first month, Kip Miller for the second month here at Greenville. A particular treat and a good double whammy. We're glad to have Kip Miller with us today. As we get started, this one is taking time. Please let me now for a full blessing for those who are coming in a moment. Those who have Bible, bless that. Here we go. Lord, thank you for this day and this time we have to be together. We thank you for this growing momentum of men and women in our state who want to live out their faith in you in every aspect of their lives, at work and at home, and everything they do. We pray that you will give us the spirit of power and thank you for this meal. We pray that you bless the food and all those who prepared it. Please give strength to all the speakers today, particularly and God, please help us to go and change the state of South Carolina. What we do here today, in the name of Jesus Christ, we pray. Amen. All right, we're going to do pledges of allegiance real fast. Now, as you can tell, we've got the Christian flag. God will rescue you. Command the South Carolina flag to you. Yourself the pledge of allegiance to the U.S. flag. Attention, salute, the flag.
Come down.
We want to emphasize during these meetings, networking with one another. I think the thing that will continually come out of this
That's in the year 2102.
It's Army Navy Week. And our daily lives here in the country. Is that pretty clear, right? We direct our
Starting in January 4th.
There are specific numbers here. And I still believe there's a silent majority, particularly in this state, and who believe in doing business in Christ's godly way. So please network. We want to encourage you to give out every card in your pocket. Give each other your cell phone numbers. Go on to the Christian Chamber comments. Because Angela and her team have an excellent online app, great website. List your business, list your service. Let's do business together, so we can ensure in this state you're not forced to pick between the principal and a paycheck. That's one of the things we're trying to do. That being said, since this is part of the South Carolina Christian Chamber of Commerce, I'll welcome back to the stage my friend Angela McGee. Angela is the Executive Director and founder of the South Carolina Christian Chamber. We always like to have her come up and greet you and tell you what's going on and how to be involved. So round of applause and Angela.
MC that we have down here is up here in Greenville, South Carolina. What a beautiful place to be. And it's so fun to thank him that we are able to be here like Wednesday. Thank you for coming today. You look wonderful. We're excited about all that is happening. We're excited about all the growth, all the activity in South Carolina Christian Chamber. We want you to join us as Josh was just mentioning. We have certificates. Thank you. Quite a number that just and our last meeting. Mike Shaparo has not been here today.
He's probably like
I think that he might not get. Carter is getting married this week. There you are, Phil. If you would have, we want to get your ornament. If you go get that and bring that up right there on the table behind Gordon Smith. You raise your hand. Thank you, Gordon.
You just make her, put your name on it.
Kim Miller just joined. Kim's wife, Kim Miller, and she is also in technology. Thank you, Kim. Get your ornament and your certificate. Pastor James White joined. He did a special membership for 10 years. Pastor, would you have you back there on this table? We'll have to get the table up front this time. And Thomas Cole. David Field. Is David Field here today? Anyone representing this company? David is here, just walking in. Wonderful. We have a table back here with your certificate and your ornament. Ben Scott, Peter Group. Anyone from the Peter Group here today? Peter Kreisel, Holiday Corporation, and you know him. He will not be able to join us today, but he will. Well, thank you so much. I want you to make certain that you look us up on Facebook. We have a Facebook page. Make sure you like us. Make sure you post your business, your website on our Facebook page. We'll approve it as a member. And join the members only Facebook, et cetera, so we can get more web presence for you. We are working to renovate our website so that we can get Greenville looking mighty proud up there. Doing some very exciting things for Greenville on our website. So make sure, everybody look at me for just a second. Take a pause, chew your food, take a pause. www.scchristianchamber.org. Go there. Oh, Don Cruz is here. I see Don Cruz. Don, you have a membership certificate, and thank you for joining us. Also, make sure you go to the website. Make sure you like us on Facebook and sign up for our feed. Make sure that we have your business information on all of our web presences so we can network you better. I would tell you to sign up for our phone app. We have a beautiful, wonderful phone app. And I want to tell you how wonderful our phone app is. Our phone app is so wonderful that someone who is apparently not a Christian hacked us today. So we will not ask you to go there today. We are going to put up some added security. But the compliment is we are noticed. So the South Carolina Christian Chamber is growing. We plan to grow to every county in the state. Our next area to open will be Charleston sometime after the first of the year. So be in touch if you have business in Charleston or friends in Charleston. And I tell you what, tell a friend, bring 5 new people to the January meeting of the South Carolina Christian Chamber. And one final thought that Sherry Schilling, thank you Sherry Schilling, brought up today was we will have a special offer. You will see it on the website. For the first of the year, if you sign up before the first of the year, you get something special for signing up. And we are changing our membership prices starting the first year. So if you want to sign up and get on board, see what offers we can make this chamber more power. Make this chamber more power and more unity to the kingdom of Jesus Christ. And with that, I want to say to each and every one of you, Merry, Merry Christmas and a blessed and happy New Year. Thank you so much.
Thank you, Angela McGee. Seriously, Angela's a workhorse. She's doing, she's keeping this together. Her and William, Kim Miller, and Jesse Sprinkle, and then for about Elizabeth and Sherry Schilling, the guys that call and tell me what I need to do, where I need to be, how many reservations I need to make. Please give a round of applause to all these folks. This is a lot of work to do. And as you see, the room filled up. Kip was on the show with me just the other day on the radio, and I don't know, you things aren't good at it. So I'm thinking of taking a vacation at the end of the year. Kip Miller, do this yesterday, at least a week. I can't even volunteer for like this. But when we talk about something on there called faith-driven consumer, it's a movement nationally where people are starting to look at businesses and what these businesses believe. There's an old expression that you vote with your feet, and people move to places that are more prosperous. Reagan used to talk about the Soviet Union, that people fled the communism for good and went to free countries. I think we also see a voting with our feet in terms of how we spend our money, how we allocate our resources. And one of the things I want to encourage you to do is join the Christian Chamber. Work with businesses in this state, provide services that you need, and you share your convictions and do business with those people. That's how we strengthen them. That's how we make a court of many, or a road of many courts. We also want to support ministries that are advancing the cause of Christ in our community. One such ministry is Let There Be Mom. Now, I feel like every evening when I go home, I thank God for the opportunity to work. So I can provide for my 4-year-old son. More importantly, I think about how blessed I am to have that child. Many of you all know the difficulty I went through to get time to my child. Many of you have too. And you think about how many children lose their moms and dads, even at a young age, oftentimes. What we want to do is help those children understand the legacy of their parents by helping the parents who may be given a life-altering diagnosis the chance to leave a legacy for their son or daughter. And that's what Kipper Anderson does at Let There Be Mom. She's the founder and executive director. And Kipper, come on up and share with the audience more about what you all do with your community-based nonprofit.
Good afternoon. I appreciate your offering me the opportunity to talk with you for just a couple minutes about Let There Be Mom. As was mentioned, we are a nonprofit organization located here in Greenville. We help moms or dads who have been diagnosed with a life-threatening illness to set up their own to see for their children. All of the families are at least one child is 18 years old or younger, who live in the upstate, and the physician identifies for and say that they have a life-threatening illness. That means that if they were to forego medical treatment, they would feel their life expectancy of 2 years or less. We do not want to forego medical treatment, of course. We're just set up a regular based on it doesn't constitute a medical diagnosis. So first, we have application. We interview mom or dad to know all about their life, their talents, hobbies, interests, and what it is they want their children to know about them. And then we come back and schedule the forms for them. Whether that's together, photographer, whereas one mom put it to me, she wants to be able to show up for their special events, even if she wasn't physically there. So we want things from like kindergarten graduation, transitions from middle school to high school graduation, college graduation, weddings and babies, and they were all very sentimental and meaningful gifts. Even made some things that belong to her, or new things that she just wanted to have done for her children. For example, one of the things we did for her son, for his 16th birthday, we did a keychain. And that little boy was adopted by her. So on one side of the keychain, it has the coordinates from his home in Russia, where he was born, and on the other side, it has the coordinates from his home now that they live in. And she put a special note, to be safe while you're driving, and then you always find your way home. So now when we did that for him, he was just 7. And so now his mom is still fighting for illness. He is now 10 years old. So we're just hoping right alongside of her that she's going to be there on his 16th birthday to give that to him herself. Just going to ease that what ifs that are in these parents' minds. We spend about $4,000 on each family we work with. There's multiple projects at no cost to the family. We raise that money in our community by having corporate sponsors. We also do 2 big fundraising events. The most well-known of our fundraising events is Dine Out for Mom, which happens each year in October. So if you happen to grab to a restaurant on that particular Thursday in October to Dine Out for Mom, you have been benefiting Let There Be Mom, and we certainly appreciate your support in that. And I just want to thank you for your time. Wish you all a Merry Christmas. That was easy for me to say. And please, if you know anybody that could benefit from our services, don't hesitate to tell them about us. We've never had a family have regrets about doing the service, but we've had plenty of phone calls afterwards from friends, family, and neighbors about not telling the person about our organization. So I would encourage you to take that step to let them know about Let There Be Mom, and just ask them, have you heard of Let There Be Mom? And if they say yes or no, say, did you know that you don't have to have a terminal diagnosis? It's just a lifelong illness, and they can help you with great things for your children. And that's just an easy way to present it to them. So, thank you very much, and Merry Christmas.
Thank you, Kimbra, and what a great organization, Let There Be Mom. And we all ought to think about leaving a legacy every day of our lives. I mean, at the end of the day, is anybody in this room, let's do statistics. Do you know what the mortality rate is? Anybody know? It's been pretty consistent. Well, 100%. It's one of the few things that's 100%. We're getting close to there with taxes, but it's 100% probability that you're going to die. And death is, of course, no respecter of persons. We don't know if we're going to die at 30 or 90. We ought to, every day of our life, ought to be about leaving a legacy through our children, to the people around us, is leaving a legacy of a godly life well lived. And that's why I'm so proud to introduce now Kip Miller as our guest speaker today. Now, Kip is an incredible businessman. He and his wife, Kim Miller, both incredible business people. And Eastern Industrial Supply Incorporated is, in my view, one of those world-class companies that's premier in the Southeast. Well, I can say, as we do that 30-second ad every day, they're the Southeast premier provider of 5,000 fittings, and you can visit them at easternfirst.com, right? So that's, you can tell I've done that a few times. But more importantly, Eastern First, and that's something Kip's going to talk about. This is a company that is a God-honoring enterprise. And that starts at the top. With Kip and with Kim, it starts at the top. In the Spartanburg meeting a week ago, I talked about a movie that's older than I am. I'll do the same thing again today for those of you who are not in our Spartanburg meeting. How many of you have ever seen a movie, I think it's from like 1962, called Sabrina? Have you ever seen this movie? I'm dating myself without dating myself. It's Audrey Hepburn and Humphrey Bogart or something. There you go. So he's a businessman on there. She's a young lady who kind of falls for this guy. And he's made billions of dollars and is well known in New York. And toward the end of the movie, she doesn't know this guy really well. So she says, all you care about is money. She starts to have greed. He's a greedy capitalist. All he wants to do is make money, and he's all about building a business. And she asks him, do you care about anybody? And do you ever stop to listen to children laugh in the street and things like that? Now, how often do we get that kind of characterization as business people? It's common, right? If you're in my profession, you're a banker. I mean, everybody assumes we're just looking for somebody to foreclose on any given day. I promise we don't enjoy that. The lawyers do. We don't. Sorry, Dad. There's this misconception in the marketplace that if you are a business person who cares about being successful, that you must not care. Well, what he goes on to say in this movie, when she asks him these hard questions, the more plants I build, the more people I employ, The more profits we generate, we can build parks for children to go and play. We can provide braces for those children who need braces. We can provide malaria treatments to prevent unnecessary death. He goes on and defends in a movie that's 50 years old the inherent moral, the moral angle of capitalism. In a free enterprise system, if we are moral actors, that can be one of the most God-honoring things in the world to do, is to run a successful business with a higher purpose in mind. And I think that's exactly how Kip Miller and Kim Miller view Eastern Industrial Supply Incorporated. They won't tell you this. They probably give, as a percentage, an enormous, one of the highest percentages of income of individuals and business to the cause of Christ in this community. And I have a lot of people I've been honored to know over the years, a lot of people in the business world, the political world I've had a chance to meet, like Bobby has, like Ward has. There are few people finer than Kip. There are few people who will be more humble about it than Kip. So please welcome to this platform Kip Miller, President and CEO of Eastern Industrial Supply Incorporated, to share with us how to run a God-honoring enterprise.
Well, I appreciate that nice, undeserved introduction. But my wife is here today, and she knows much different what was just said. So please don't ask her about the details. But then, would you please stand? We have been married for 38 years. We have worked together and survived for over 25 years. We have 3 adult children. We have 3 grandchildren. We have 3 wonderful adults that our adult children have married. So God has been very, very good to us, and we just thank Him for His blessings in life. Well, you heard that nice introduction about me, but I really want to tell you who I really am. To do that, I need to refer to the International Lead Like Jesus Conference that was held here in the summer of 2014. It was sponsored by Anderson University. And part of that 2-day conference, I heard a professor talk about moral development issues with business majors. And I'll confess to you, I'm a business major. I major in marketing and management. And so I want to tell you something about business majors. And it said that business majors tend to be unethical. They cheat more, they plagiarize, and they're more unethical compared to other areas of universities. He said their moral code is broken. They're willing to take extreme risks. They'll do whatever is needed to succeed. They are very crafty and cunning. The results in their minds justify the means. Many times they fail to recognize and live out values or their beliefs. They focus on getting a grade and not necessarily an education. So the businessman, as a business major, I think that pretty well describes who I am. I have a tendency to look for gray areas. And you may want to leave right now. But if you do decide to stay, I would like to share with you 3 things outside of my profession of faith that have had a huge impact upon my business life. Things that have helped me to avoid, stay away from my natural tendencies, as I've described. And so my desire is with these 3 things is to hopefully impact your life, maybe even much more than they have impacted mine. But to get to these 3 things, I need to tell you a little bit about my background and how some of these things came about. I was born and raised here in Greenville. I'm a native Greenvillian. I went to Berea High School. My parents were Christian. They took me to church. I can say I was drugged. I was drugged in church all the time. And so I had a good understanding of who Jesus was at the age of 10. I made a profession of faith. I knew that I wanted Jesus to come into my heart, and I did that. There's no question about that. I didn't fully understand at that time what atonement meant and everything that Jesus had done for me in God's plan. But yet, I do believe I made that confession of faith. Romans 10:9 says that if you confess Jesus as Lord and believe in your heart that God raised him from the dead, and you will be saved. I think that's true today. Also, Romans 10:13 says everyone can call for the name of the Lord will be saved. I think that's the most important decision a person can make. These three things I give you don't mean anything without first making that decision. So I still think that that's true today. So when I was in high school, I never really learned how to study. I didn't know that study was important. I thought I was going to let the clock go by and get a grade. So what I did is I focused on three things. I focused on girls, baseball, and cars. So when I went to take the SAT test, I didn't know what that was. It came time for me to go to college or take the next step, and I wasn't prepared. So I applied to Anderson Junior College in Anderson, South Carolina. And after they saw my grades and my scores, they wrote a letter and said, you need to tell me just exactly why you didn't come to school here. And I thought, boy, this better be good. I'm kind of like a 3-page paper, this better be good. And so honestly, I prayed about it, I thought about it. I'm a processor, so I was thinking about it all the time. And I can tell you honestly that God told me, I didn't know it then, but something that kept coming to my mind, right about being a Christian businessman in an evil and sinful world. That's what I wrote about. You see, at a young age, some of you may remember that we got a Greenville Piedmont newspaper. Well, it was a paper boy. I delivered papers. That was kind of like having a little enterprise. I didn't know it at that time, but you went out, you got customers, and you delivered the paper, and on Friday you paid 56 cents, and Saturday morning I would take it down, and I would pay my bill, and whatever was left over was mine. I enjoyed that. I enjoyed mowing lawns. I enjoyed making money and going to the old American Federal and depositing money in the bank and then writing a few cents interest in my account. I just enjoyed that. So I think maybe that's why God wrote that in my mind and write about that paper. And I guess it was good enough that they let me in, or even they needed a little bit more revenue. So I began to go to school there. And the sophomore year came, and the fall, and I said, you know, what's next? I had a friend that he had some friends that played for the football team. We were over to Clemson all the time. Didn't spend much time at Anderson. He wanted me to go to Clemson with him. But we like to have too good of a time. And I still had learned to study. And so I knew that if I went to school with him, I'd never finish. So him and I were going to school together. We were riding back to Greenville one day, and I said, hey, Kim, who wants me to go to school with in Clemson? I think if I do that, I'll never graduate. Why don't you and I get married and we'll move to Columbia? And I'll finish up school there and get my business degree. So that was my proposal. So that sounds like a good idea. And so I never been to campus. I didn't know much about the university other than they had a great basketball team at that time. And we went down there and had a great reputation in the business school. We both got jobs, and she helped me get an education. And in December of 1979, we graduated and moved back to Greenville. 1980, it's on the threshold of a recession. Those were Jimmy Carter days, 20% plus interest, gas rationing, waiting in line for gas, businesses closing, and new businesses starting up. And there was a headhunter that was calling new businesses, and Eastern had just begun as a company on March 14th of 1980. And 6 months later, they were in a position to hire their first trainee. And I was fortunate enough that that headhunter called in, I went for an interview, and I received my first job. I'm still with that same company today. God's blessing, but as I began to work, that was in my mind about being a Christian. And I guess I was somewhat shocked because I didn't know what the business world was really like at that time. And I can tell you that from a believer's standpoint, I was miserable. I'd never experienced some of the things that I experienced back in those days. I'm not saying the leadership was bad, but I'm just saying that it was different. It was different than anything I ever experienced. And then we had 3 owners after a little bit of time, 2 bought out 1, and then we started another company called Eastern Controls, which now my wife is president of a company called Eastern Power Technologies, and it's a similar type company. But in 1985, the 2 owners decided to split, and I stayed on with the industrial side, which we say is PVF, pipe valves and fitting supply. And so I had a chance to be the vice president, had just enough stock to keep me there, and but things kind of settled down a little bit. The culture began to shift for the better after the company split. And in April of 1986, my boss walked into my office and laid some papers on my desk, and I said, "What is that, Joel?" He said, "Kip, I'm sick. When you've been in my death, I want you to be able to buy my stock." And so I said, "Okay." So I won't turn down anything that's free, but I never thought anything like that would ever happen. That God would allow me coming over the company. Because I was at that time 28 years old. I didn't have deep pockets, and I certainly didn't have the intelligence to be able to run a company. And so 6 months later, December 31st, 1986, 11:45, watching the old console TV with a rotary knob, Dick Clark, the ball drop, I got a call from George's friends that said, "George is dead, the company's yours, I'll talk to you afterwards." Needless to say, that was a long night for my wife and I. Because I was contemplating going with a competitor who had made me an offer the previous day to double my salary. And we just had our second child, and it was really overwhelming, to say the least. But we talked about it, and we said, these people are friends, not that I mean anything to the company, but I'm not going to leave right now in a time of distress. Let's see what happens. So I turned the other offer down, went into Jordan's office the next day, found out that we were factoring money at 24% interest. We had a line of credit of $700,000, which was maxed out. And there were $350,000 in checks in Jordan's desk that we couldn't know because we didn't have the money. And I thought, what have I got myself into? But yet, we just continued to steady plod along. I couldn't get a bank to loan me any money because our balance sheet income statement was beyond being terrible. And we just had to put one foot in front of the other and just slowly work our way, catch up to bills, and eventually, we did eventually get out of debt. But I was really had my head down, First 6 years, I really wasn't settled that I was going to be at Eastern, and when God gave me the company, and a man had to die for me to be able to receive that. I've never forgotten that and taken it very seriously. And really began my journey, my true journey of trying to be a Christian businessman. I would be invited from some vendors to go to Charlotte or Greenville to hear these one-day seminars, motivational seminars like the Zig Ziglars of the world, and Colin Powell, and this long Louis Tom, and they would just encourage me. I didn't because they could say but they would encourage you to have a business, to have a plan, to know what your values were, to know what your purpose in life was. And I never thought about that. I was in the business world, and we'd never had a strategic plan. And so, I thought, I need to think about this. And at one of those motivational events, there was a pause, and there was some instruction, and everybody was right to their purpose statement. And so I said, okay, it's time, I'm gonna do this. And about the time I really started thinking about it, it was like, it was a whisper, a voice in my head, in my heart, that said, kid, you have a purpose. Don't you remember the paper that I had you write at Anderson? You're called into business. You see, when I was at Anderson, I was considered to call in full-time ministry. That meant to be a pastor, a youth leader, a song director, or missionary. And I just couldn't get settled on one of those, but I felt like God was really pulling in my heart about full-time ministry. But it came back to me that day in Charlotte, 1987. God said, I've called you to business full-time. And I thought, wow, that's really powerful. To be a Christian business person and to make a difference. And so I really focused on that from that time up until about 2000. And we were carrying all those things, but really my head was down. I'm trying to make money. I'm praying to God every day, don't let me make a mistake, a business mistake, because we could easily teeter off into bankruptcy. That's how critical our situation was. But nobody left the company after he died. 13 people stayed with about $3 million in sales, and we did just to slowly make money and do a lot of things that we could with the resources we had to help our people and to help other people. Then about the year 2000 came, and God, in His own way, sent me on a different direction by 3 challenges that I want to throw down to you. And so, if somebody would reach to the center of your table and pull these out, pull out this piece of paper, I'd like for everybody to have one in your hand, because I'm going to challenge you. I'm going to challenge you for what's really impacted my life. 3 challenges the past 15 years. Robbie Davidson was here, our CFO, he was a friend, he was a Rosie Club, but that time I didn't like an eye, and